y'all, welcome to class. My name is McKensie. I'm gonna be leading you through a 60-minute Vinyasa yoga flow this morning. We're hosting class on the beautiful terrace of the Westin Hotel in New Orleans, Louisiana, the greatest city in the world. So we're located on the port of New Orleans. The Mississippi River is right below us. So if you hear some tugboats going by or a freight train rolling through, or even just the wind, because we're on the 11th story of the hotel, know that that's all natural. But because of that, we have Spotify playlists ready for you. You're going to have 3 different QR codes that you can see at the top of our screen here. So if you want to pull out your Spotify app, there are going to be 3 different options, just depending on, kind of what your vibe, what you're feeling today. And you can go ahead and pull that up now, pull out your headphones, and press play when you're ready. We're gonna get started lying on our backs in a Supta Baddha Konasana. So come with the soles of the feet together, your knees falling out wide. And then bring one hand to your belly and the other hand to your heart. This is also known as the reclined butterfly pose. And once you arrive, just really bring your awareness within the 4 corners of your mat. For the next 60 minutes, I want your awareness to only be here, and to let anything else that's on your mind, on your agenda, just kind of fall away. Start to bring your mind to your breath. Take a full breath in, and then open your mouth, full, complete exhale out. Make a little noise. Again, just like that, fill all the way up. Maybe you feel your belly rise, your hand rises, the hand on your chest rises, and then hold it at the top. You're filling up even with air in the throat, big, complete breath. And then once again, open your mouth, full, complete exhale. You can continue to take those 3-part breaths, filling up belly, chest, throat. If you enjoy that, then also find the reverse on the opposite side, exhaling throat, chest, belly. 2 more rounds just like that. Bringing your full mind to each breath. Can you expand further? Can you fill up with that energizing breath? And every time you exhale, you just surrender and melt into the mat. I'm going to invite you to find an intention for class today. And the intention that I would love to encourage is, because I'm assuming because you're staying at a hotel, that you're in from out of town. And just to bring a little New Orleans flavor into it, I'm sure that you're aware that New Orleans is also known as the Big Easy. So my intention for you for class today is, how can you make it easy? That doesn't necessarily mean that class is going to be easy. You might struggle, you might find difficult points. But how can you release yourself from the expectation of having to struggle through it? And how can you bring the ease into the postures, the ease into the practice? So it's more an ease of spirit, of mind, of intention. And as you work through that today, your yoga mat is kind of a mirror for how you take on the rest of your day, take on the rest of your week. So let it inspire you to have the rest of your time here in New Orleans be the biggest, easiest possible. Staying present with your breath, let's move to an Ujjayi breath, breathing in through the nose. And you're going to seal the lips and exhale through the nose. And it's an intentional, big breath on both sides. As you exhale, you're letting the air wash over the whisper muscles in the back of the throat. And go ahead and settle in with that intention. We'll take 4 more rounds of breath here. Find ease in your breath. When you're ready, bring your hands to the outsides of your knees, close your legs like your favorite book, and then hug your knees into your chest. If you'd like to bring your forehead up to meet the knees, squeeze everything in, giving yourself a big hug. Maybe you even wrap the arms around the shins. Hold it here for one more moment. And then blossom open, let the legs reach long on the mat, arms reach up overhead, interlace the fingers, and then press the palms away from you. Maybe you point the toes long, so you're taking up as much space as possible. Like it's a good morning stretch. Keeping your arms and your fingers interlaced, draw the right knee into the chest. You're gonna bring that clasp around the right shin and hug the right shin up and into the right armpit. Point and flex the right toes. Feel how it activates that right hamstring. You'll feel a nice juicy stretch there. And then start to draw a circle with the hip one way. Maybe you have to release that bind to make it bigger, to really get into the spaces that might be a little tight, maybe even a little crackly. Take it one direction and then the opposite direction. And then once again, let's hug the knee in really tight. And we'll find an easy spinal twist. Take the left knee, or take that right knee across to the left side of the body. And either cactus open or T open this right arm and gaze over the right palm. You can keep the left hand on that right knee to help assist with the twist. Or again, you can just find an ease here, letting gravity do the work for you. Maybe you even cactus open both arms. Big breath in. Exhale, sink deeper into the twist. Come back through center. Let's hug the right knee in just once more. And then go ahead and switch out the legs. Right leg reaches long, left knee hugs up and in. So really squeezing it into the armpit, point and flex the left toes, activate that hamstring. And then let's draw some hip circles, taking the knee outside of the body, drawing it through the midline, as big of a circle as feels good to you. And then take it the opposite way. Hug the knee in, and then find an easy spinal twist. The left knee comes across to the right side of the mat. Cactus open or T open that left arm, gaze over the left palm. Keeping the right hand on that left knee to assist in the twist if it feels nice, or you can cactus open the right arm as well. Release any tension in the face in this posture. Just breathe. Come back through center when you're ready. Right knee hugs into the chest. Squeeze both knees in, and then let's find a happy baby pose. You can either grab the outsides of the arches of the feet or the inside arches. I love to take my peace sign fingers and wrap them around my big toes. Find a yogi toe lock there, and then draw the knees out wide by bending into the elbows. Soles of the feet are pressed up towards the sky, and I want a nice long spine here. So we have a tendency to roll up that lower back. I want the lower back to stay nice and long on the mat. And you should feel that power reaching up through the heels. Maybe let's find a little movement now, rocking into one hip, straightening into the other. Like a happy baby in a crib, just playing around, finding what feels good to you, lengthening, contracting, just exploring. Bring the hands to the backs of the thighs and start to find a little rock forward and back. So we're massaging out the spine here, taking it slow. Finding a little momentum as making the rocks bigger. And we're going to pause right here in our boat pose, everyone's favorite pose. We're gonna hinge on our lower sacrum here. Shins are parallel with the earth if that feels good, if your core feels active and ready. Otherwise, if you need to take it down a notch, you can bring those heels down to the earth. You can even bring the hands to the lower back or on the ground behind your lower back, and find that angle in the spine so you really feel that core light up. Pull the lower belly up and in. And again, if you want to explore, maybe the hands are down, maybe you take those heels off of the mat. If you'd like to take it to a fuller expression, the palms can come up beside the shins. Draw the shoulders down and back like you have a string coming up from your sternum up to the sky. You're shining that heart bright. Good, pause here. And then we're gonna find a little twist. So bring the back of the left forearm to the outside of the right knee and reach that right arm back behind you. We're activating the core. You should really feel this engagement through your outer obliques. Reach long through the right hand, press knee into forearm, forearm into knee. One more breath here. Arms come up by the ears, biceps frame the face, and then take it to the opposite side. Bring the outside of that right forearm to the left knee, press knee into forearm, reach the left hand back behind you. It's always good to curl up the corners of your mouth, make this a little easier, bring a smile into the posture. If you feel a little shake, that's natural, it's working. Arms come up, we're gonna do it 2 more times each side, rotate to the right. And again, you can modify this however you need. Arms come up, take it to the left. Those heels can stay down the whole time. Hands can even come down to the earth on both sides. One more time, arms reach tall. Find your twist to the right. Arms reach tall. Find your twist to the left. Good, and then let's cross the ankles. We're gonna meet in a tabletop pose. I love starting off the class with a little core. It reminds you how to engage the core. So when we find those engagement in our postures in the remainder of class, you can really take it to the max there. So in our tabletop pose, you're gonna bring the hands right under the shoulders, the knees are stacked under the hips. Nice long spine, and we'll start to move through some cat-cows to start to articulate through the spine. So we'll find our cow pose first, drop the belly, lift the gaze, shoulders are drawing back. And then as you exhale, slowly curl the spine. Your gaze is gonna come back towards your belly button, puff up through the upper back, and push the mat away. Good, slowly drop the belly. Heart comes through the window of the arms, gaze raises, cow pose. And then exhale, cat pose. Can you make this a really big terrified cat? Pull up the back, pull the belly in 1 more inch. Good, and then find cow again. Start to match your own breath with your own movement here. You can even close your eyes if that feels good to you. Just really come into your body and make it your own. Maybe you even find some wiggles in the hips, however it feels good. You can play around with the positioning of the hands. Maybe the fingers come back to face towards you. Stretch through the forearms. Fingers can come out wide. Just play around with it. There are no restrictions, no rules, just feels. Good, and when that feels good, let's come back to a neutral spine. So for a neutral spine, your hips, your pelvis are tucked under just a little bit. So again, you have that core engagement and nice, strong core center. Take your right hand to the back or to the front of the mat, and we're gonna take our left toes to the back of the mat. Left toes are tucked under to start. Draw the outside of the left hip down, and then draw the left toes off of the mat. Core should still be nice and engaged. Let's flex the left toes down to fire up that left booty cheek, the left hamstring. Can you reach longer in the right arm? Core is squeezing in. Moving through a bird dog series here, we'll touch elbow to knee as we curl the spine, finding that cat-like back. Inhale to reach long 2. Exhale to curl. Last time, inhale, reach long. Exhale, curl. This next time after you reach long, we're gonna bend into the left knee, look over that right shoulder. Maybe you grab the foot back behind you on the inside arch, and then kick the foot into hand. Finding a heart opener here, you're gazing over that right shoulder. Breath in, kick further. Exhale as slow as you can, come back through center. Good, left knee comes back down to the mat, right hand comes back down. And we'll take that on the opposite side. Left fingertips reach forward like you're shaking someone's hand. The left thumb is up. Right toes reach to the back of the mat. Draw the outside of the right hip down, and then slowly draw that right heel off of the mat. Pull up and in the core. Reach long as possible, flexing the right toes down. Exhale, knee to elbow, curl in. Inhale to reach long. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale to reach long. Exhale, knee to elbow again. Last time here, reach longer and stronger, and then bend into the right knee, look over that left shoulder, kick foot into hand, breath in, breath out. One more breath, can you expand? And then as slow as possible, come back through center. Very good, yogis. We'll take the right foot to the back of the mat once again. We'll find a modified side plank here. So I'll spin around. Sole of the right foot comes down. You're gonna spiral the right arm up to the sky. So right hip is stacked on top of left. You're pulling up and in and maybe bowing up the hips a little bit here. And then we'll rise into our gate pose. So bring your power into that left knee, left hand comes off of the mat, arms at shoulder height. Good, this is our gate pose, and then we're gonna find a side body stretch, reaching the right hand down the right thigh, left arm reaches up and over that left ear, either straight up or finding a little stretch through the side body up and over. Big breath in, big breath out. Top hand comes down, windmill the hands down, step back to your high plank pose. Pausing here in your high plank, you're on the ball mounds of your feet, your wrists are right under the shoulders. Pull your quadriceps away from the kneecaps, squeeze your booty, pull the core up and in. Big breath in, breath out, knees come back down to the mat, find your tabletop pose. This time we're gonna take that left foot back behind us, finding a modified side plank on this side. So spiral the sole of that left foot down, left arm spirals up, pull the core up and in. You can always tick-tock that kick-standed leg, those toes off the mat, and curl them under if that helps you with a little more support. Go ahead and rise up into your gate pose, arms at shoulder height, activated arms, and then draw the left hand down the left shin, right arm reaches tall. Breath in, breath out to stay. One more breath, maybe you reach deeper. And then windmill the hands down to the mat. Frame the face. Let's step back into our plank pose for 2 rounds of breath. Again, everything is engaged. Puff up through the upper back, push the mat away. Be long through the crown of the head and out through the heels, and then find a downward facing dog. Our first down dog of the day. Let's go ahead and get in position here. So sometimes we have a tendency to make little tiny mitten hands with our hands. I really want you to starfish out the hands, spreading all 10 fingers out wide, giving you a nice strong base. The heels are actively reaching down to the earth, and the chest is pressing towards the thighs. Wrap your inner elbows towards one another, and then give your head a shake, yes. Give your head a shake, no. Again, let go of expectation, find ease in the posture, and then pedal out your dog. Bend into one knee, lengthen into the other. Taking your dog for a walk today. Good, and then roll forward once again, high plank pose. Knees come wide, forehead comes down. Let's find a child's pose. So your booty is sitting down towards your heels, fingertips reaching out long on the mat. Breath in. Exhale, sink deeper. Maybe you find a rock side to side and the forehead massaging out the third eye on the mat. Resetting yourself with your intention before we really pick up the movement this morning. Rise up into your tabletop pose. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Let's start to match our breath to our movement. Roll forward to your high plank pose as you inhale. Exhale, find your child's pose, knees wide, hips sit down and back. Inhale, rise up to your tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more times like that. Roll forward to your high plank pose. Your core is leading the movement. Knees come out wide, sink down and back, child's pose. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. Exhale, hips are high, downward facing dog. One last time, I'm gonna let you cue it on your own, in your head. You know it by heart. Match your inhales and your exhales. Be intentional, be powerful. We'll meet back in a downward facing dog. We're gonna find a forward fold at the top of the mat, and we're gonna tiptoe our feet as slow as humanly possible to get there. The last person to arrive gets a gold star. You can pick it up from the reception desk later. We got a whole sheet of gold stars waiting for you. Grab opposite elbows here. Let the head hang heavy. And just find movement in that upper body, swaying side to side. You'll feel how that activates, engages the legs, and stretches them in a different manner each way you go. Release the hands, find a halfway lift. Inhale, nice long spine, crown of the head reaches forward. Exhale, forward fold, release. One more time like that, halfway lift. So your hands are either to your shins or your thighs, however feels best for you. Head and hips reaching in opposite directions. Forward fold, let it go. We're gonna roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Crown of the head is the last thing to rise. Good, and then you've arrived to Tadasana, mountain pose. Palms face forward, energy reaching down from the fingertips into the earth, while you're also getting that energy up through the legs. So it's an active pose. Again, quads are activated, core is activated. Find a nice tucking down of the tailbone to engage that lower core. Nice, long, tall spine. Beautiful. Inhale, arms reach up tall. Let's interlace the fingers. Pointer fingers stay long. And then we'll find a crescent stretch, so stretching up and over to your right. Press down through the outside of the left foot. Draw the chest back, breath in. Inhale, reach back up tall. We'll take it to the opposite side. I'm mirroring y'all, so you're gonna take this up and over to the left. Big breath in, draw the shoulders back in space. Reach long. Inhale, come back through center. Cactus the arms back, elbows draw wide, nice proud chest. And then draw the hands behind your back. Interlace the hands, punch the palms together. Find a forward fold, rinsing the shoulders up and over your head. Crown of the head hangs heavy. Breath in, breath out. Slight bend of the knees, engage the core to rise up once again. And then we'll find Tadasana with hands at heart center. We'll start to move through our sun salutations here, starting to build that active heat in the body. Inhale, arms reach up tall, sweep the arms up overhead. This is our extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands through heart center, find a forward fold. Taking it nice and slow to start, you're gonna take a big step to the back of the mat. The right leg reaches long behind you. Sink the hips low, keep the spine long, maybe your gaze comes forward. Your ankle is right under the knee, and you're in an active but stretched stance. Step the left foot to the back of the mat, find a downward facing dog. You've been here before. Inhale, roll forward to your high plank pose. Exhale, drop your knees down first, then your chest, then your chin. Slither forward onto your belly. We'll find a baby cobra. Hands come right under the breastbone, peel the chest up, engage that lower back, elbows squeeze in. Exhale, rise up through bent knees, find a downward facing dog. On your inhale, your right leg reaches high for a three-legged dog. Your pinky toe is dialed down through the earth, or down to the earth. Your heel is punching back up behind you. Engage that hamstring. Curl the spine forward, step that right foot between the hands, low lunge. Same thing as the opposite side. Hips are nice and low, spine is long, gaze is forward. Step the left foot forward to the top of the mat. Find a halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale as you forward fold. Extended mountain pose. Sweep the arms up overhead, look up, gaze up, reach up. Exhale, hands through heart center, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, release. Taking it to the left side, left leg, big step, long behind you, low lunge. Sink the hips down, gaze forward. Find that nice stretch through that left hip flexor. Exhale, step the right foot back to meet the left, downward facing dog. Roll forward on an inhale to a high plank pose. Dropping our knees down first, chest, chin, elbows squeeze in. Come down to the belly and then peel the chest up for a baby cobra. Exhale, come through bent knees, downward facing dog. Left leg reaches high this time, three-legged dog. Once again, pinky toe is spiraling down towards the earth, punching the heel back behind you. Think about spiraling up that inner left thigh. Breath in, reach tall. Exhale, curl forward, step that left leg between the hands. Sinking low in the hips, long in the spine. Take the right foot forward to meet the left. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale as you forward fold. Extended mountain pose, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Taking that to round 2, we're gonna match 1 breath, 1 movement. Inhale, arms reach tall. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Right leg reaches long behind you, low lunge on an inhale. As you exhale, downward facing dog, left leg meets the right. Inhale as you roll forward to your high plank pose. This time we're gonna lower down flat as a board. Exhale, arms squeeze in by your sides. You can always continue to drop your knees if you need. Full cobra this time, arms lengthened, shoulders drop back. Exhale, come through a push-up or bent knees, downward facing dog. Right leg reaches high on an inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step the foot between the hands, low lunge. Left leg meets right, halfway lift, inhale, long spine. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Extended mountain pose, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, let's swan dive, forward fold, right back down. Left leg long, low lunge on an inhale. Exhale to a downward facing dog. Inhale to a high plank pose. Exhale, lower down flat as the board. Inhale to a full cobra, lengthen the arms. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg high, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step the foot between the hands. Inhale as your right leg meets the left, long spine. Exhale as you forward fold. Extended mountain pose, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Our third and final round goes a little bit differently, so pay attention, active listening. We're gonna work through our full chaturanga, but feel free to take either variation that we just went through, lowering the knees down first or lowering down flat as a board. Arms reach tall. Exhale, forward fold, release. Right leg reaches long behind you, low lunge. This time your left foot finds it in your high plank. If you're ready for chaturanga, shift forward on the tips of your toes. Exhale as you lower halfway down, elbows squeeze in. Upward facing dog, press the tops of the feet into the mat, thighs rise, chest is proud. Exhale, come over the tops of the toes, downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath here in your down dog. Realign, refocus. Find that ease, y'all. 1 more breath in. Come up on your toes. Bend your knees, gaze forward, step or hop your way to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale to fold. Extended mountain pose, arms reach up overhead. Last side, forward fold, take it down. Left leg reaches long behind you, low lunge. Right leg finds it in your high plank, shift forward, inhale. Exhale, lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale to your upward facing dog. Exhale to your downward facing dog. 2 rounds of breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. 1 more breath in. Come up on your toes, bend your knees, gaze forward, step or hop your way to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale to fold, extended mountain pose. And then we're finding our way into our Utkatasana chair pose. Sink your hips down and back. So at NOLA Vibe Yoga in New Orleans, when we're in our chair pose, we like to give a little woo, because chair pose is a hard pose. And to get out of our feelings and into our body and into our spirit of New Orleans, we give a little woo. So if you're so inclined, let's go ahead and rise back up again. Arms reach tall. And when I finish saying chair pose all together, we're gonna woo it out. So inhale, arms up tall again. As you exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose, woo! Doesn't it just feel better? It's a happier pose with a woo. Let's find our diver's pose. Sweep the arms back behind you. Come up on the tips of the toes. Crown of the head reaches forward. Breath in. Breath out. Once again, Utkatasana, chair pose, woo! Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Halfway lift, inhale, long spine. Exhale, plant the hands. This time, if you'd like to hop back into your chaturanga, your vinyasa, go for it. Otherwise, step back, find your way through your flow. All right, and if you ever want to skip our vinyasa flows, which is the plank to chaturanga to up dog to down dog, please go for it. Swipe through on those. You can simply just meet us in a downward facing dog wait for us to get there. All right, let's continue to build up our flow here. Find it in a downward facing dog to start. We're gonna take our right leg high, three-legged dog. This time, bend your knee, stack your hips. So you'll find a little scorpion tail with this right knee. Reaching this right heel past the left booty cheek, and really keep the shoulders parallel down to the earth. So we have a tendency to draw up in this right side of this body, the right shoulder, draw down in that left shoulder, lift the right knee higher. If you'd like to find a rotation in the knee joint, find it one way, find it the other way. Again, just lubricating that hip. And then find a three-legged dog. You'll square your hips off once again. Step the foot between the hands. Low crescent lunge is where we're starting. Drop the left knee, untuck the left toes. I like to bring my hands to my right knee to start, and just kind of like you're pushing the skin away on that front knee, you'll start to shift forward in the hips and find this nice stretch through that left hip flexor. If and when you're ready, if you feel stable, find an engagement in the core, arms come down by the side, and then sweep the arms up. Dial the pinky fingers towards one another. Draw the shoulders down the back. Press firmly into the right heel, the right big toe, and then if you'd like to take your gaze upward and find a little stretch through the spine, finding a nice crescent shape through the back. Big breath in. Exhale, plant the hands, frame the front foot. You'll find a half splits. Pop up on that right heel, flex those toes back towards the face. Draw back in the outside of the right hip, nice long spine. If it feels good, you can fold over the front leg. Staying present with your breath. If you'd like to dial your toes outward, dial them inward. See how that changes up the stretch in that right hip. Breath in. Exhale, sink deeper. And then find some dynamic movement here, moving through our low crescent lunge. So shift forward, plant through the right foot, arms reach tall. Exhale to your half splits. If this doesn't feel good on your knee, you can always fold over the outside of your mat under your left knee. Roll forward into the crescent lunge. Exhale into the half split. Plant back through the right foot. We're gonna plant the left hand, tuck the left toes, left knee rises. Twisted runner's lunge. Spiral the right arm up to the sky. The right knee stays tracking towards the midline, and then spiral your left shoulder towards the right knee. Really opening up across the chest. Make sure that left leg is nice and active, the left heel punching back. Breath in, spiral up. Exhale, top hand comes down. Again, stepping back to your downward facing dog or back into a plank, finding your chaturanga of choice. We'll meet in the downward facing dog. Taking it to the left side, take your left leg high, three-legged dog, and then bend your knees, stack your hips. Dial down on that outer left shoulder, reach higher in the left knee, and then find a rotation through the left hip if it feels good. Take it 2 big circles one way, 2 big circles the opposite way, and then square the hips, three-legged dog. Step the foot between the hands. Drop the right knee, untuck the right toes. Bring the hands to the right or the left knee to start. Push forward in that left knee. Stretch through the right hip flexor. Core is engaged, arms come down by the side, sweep the arms up. Pinky fingers dialed in, shoulder blades drawing down the back. Start to lift up through the sternum, find a back bend here. Continuing to plant firmly through the left big toe, the left heel. Find the crescent shape in the back. Exhale, frame the front foot, find your half splits, pop up on that left heel, left toes flex back towards you. Pull back in the outer left hip. If you want to self-assist, you can take the left thumb, draw it into the left hip crease, and just use it to push back here, really lengthening through the underside of that left leg. Your spine is nice and long. Take a breath in to grow long. And an exhale, maybe you fold over the front leg. Breath in. Breath out. Finding your dynamic movement, plant through that front foot, arms reach tall. Exhale for your half splits. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, half splits. Plant once again through the front foot. You'll tuck the right toes, rise the right knee, plant through the right hand, spiral the left arm up. Again, drawing this left knee towards the midline, stack directly over the ankle, and then spiral your chest towards the knee. Breath in, right leg is active and strong. Exhale, top hand down. Step back to your plank or your down dog, Vinyasa if you please. We're gonna start to add on, making it a little bit more complex here. Take your right leg high, three-legged dog. Bend your knee, stack your hips. And almost like it's a boomerang, you're gonna take your right knee to your right elbow, to the outside of that right elbow, engage the core, take it up and back, three-legged dog with a bent knee, knee to elbow. Three-legged dog, bent knee, and then square the hips, punch the heel up and back. Step the foot between the hands right into your low crescent lunge. Drop the left knee and tuck the left toes. Sweep the arms up, breath in. Exhale, half splits, take it back. Inhale, plant through the front heel. From our low crescent lunge, let's transition into a high crescent lunge. So tuck your left toes, rise your left knee. You can always find this by bringing the hands down and raising the knee first and then rising. All right, our crescent lunge, our most powerful position of the day thus far. Bring your hands to the hips, draw the right hip back in space, left hip forward. And make sure that tailbone is tucking down. We can bring a little bit of tension in the lower back if we punch that booty back. So I love for an easier posture here, we're all about the ease, tuck that tailbone down. Even if you have a slight bend in the back knee, that's okay. This right thigh is gonna be as parallel as possible to the earth to increase the advancement of the pose. Arms are tall, draw the shoulders down the back. Breath in, breath out. From your high crescent lunge, draw the hands to heart center. And then you're gonna rotate to the left side of the mat, finding your goddess pose. Heels are slightly in, toes are facing out, sinking the hips down beneath the knees. Hands can come to heart center. Hands can cactus out wide. You can find a mudra connecting the index finger and the thumb. Let's find a little sway side to side. Breath in, breath out. Can you sink a little lower? Breath in. Wide leg forward fold. This time toes come in, heels out, fold over the legs. If you don't find yourself in the exact position that feels good to you, always feel free to readjust. You don't have to land where you end up. As in yoga, as in life, find an adjustment to be where you need to be, not where you land. Plant the left hand down on the mat. Spiral the right arm up. Find a twist here. Breath in, breath out. Good, top hand comes down. We're gonna walk our hands back to the front of the mat, finding a pyramid pose. All 10 toes face forward. Your feet want to be on two separate train tracks, so they don't want to be on a straight line. Give your hips some room to square forward. You're going to dial the right hip back, left hip forward. Again, you can rise up to really align here, and then fold over that front leg. Ideally, both heels are down on the earth. If the left heel is a little raised, that's fine. Or else maybe that means that you just need to bring it forward. Breath in, breath out. One more breath. And we're moving to a big change here. Bend into the right knee. We're finding a standing split at the top of the mat. Slowly draw the left toes off of the mat. Reaching tall. Sternum coming down to the shin. Hands can come down to the mat. If you have a balance in your practice, you can always bring the hands behind that right shin. Squeezing in. And then y'all, we're working towards a balance challenge here. You're going to draw the left knee into the chest. Finding all of the balance in that right foot, slowly draw that left knee into the chest. If you need to touch down, that's okay, but give it your best effort. This is our single leg Tadasana. Zip up the back of the right leg, and then we'll find a twist here. Grab the right hand on the left knee, and left hand comes back behind you. Reminiscent of where we started in our boat pose, if you want to bring the back of that right forearm on the left knee and press knee into forearm, forearm into knee to engage the obliques. Go for it. One more breath here. One more breath out. Arms come back through center. Forward fold, let it go. Awesome job. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, step or hop back through your plank, through your vinyasa. or meet us in a downward facing dog. Take a few rounds of breath in your down dog. Recalibrate. And we'll move this to the left side. Left leg reaches high, three-legged dog. Bend your knee, stack your hips. And then take a big boomerang-like shape. Draw that left knee to the left elbow. Inhale, take it up and back, around. Left knee, left elbow, crunching through the side body. Three-legged dog with a bent knee, and then three-legged dog, square the hips. Step the foot between the hands. Find a low crescent lunge. Untuck the right toes. Drop the right knee, sweep the arms up. Breath in. Exhale, find your half splits. Inhale to your low crescent lunge. Again, moving into your high crescent lunge, however you need to get there. If it's without any hands, you're simply tucking the right toes and rising up. Hands to hips, pull back in the left hip, forward in the right hip, and then tuck that tailbone down. Trying to bring this left thigh as parallel as possible to the earth, reaching the arms tall, so you're strong through the lower body, you're long through the upper body. Breath in. Breath out, hands come to heart center. We'll find a goddess pose to the right side of the mat. Knees are tracking out over the toes. If you'd like to bring hands to knees to give a little self-assist here, do so, but allow that to let the hips drop further. Swaying side to side, hands to heart center, or cactus with a mudra. Pull the lower belly in, breath in. Exhale to stay. Bring a smile to the mouth, breath in. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. So again, getting in your position, toes are slightly pigeon-toed in, hands down to the mat. We'll take a twist to the opposite side this time. Plant the right hand down, left arm spirals up. As the more that you can press into the right hand, the more that your chest is going to be able to rotate up to the left. Good, top hand comes down to the earth. And then walk your hands forward. All 10 toes face the front of the mat. We'll find a pyramid pose here. So again, feet on 2 separate train tracks. Let's go ahead and rise up, square those hips forward once again. Maybe you bring that thumb to the left hip crease and then fold over. Some different arm variations that you can try in your pyramid pose. You can grab opposite elbows behind the back. You can also do a reverse prayer behind the back, maybe to be more advanced here, and then forward fold. Whatever feels good to you, no requirements, only exploration. Find one more breath. Fold, let it go. And then standing splits with your left leg planted. Slowly try to draw those right toes off of the mat. Reaching as tall as possible, crown of the head reaching down. Big breath in. Big breath out. Can you reach the toes 1 inch higher? And then we're moving into our single leg Tadasana. Can we get there through the balance challenge, drawing the knee into the chest, planting into the sole of that left foot, right knee draws into chest, arms rise. Single leg Tadasana. Pull the core up and in, zip up the back of that left leg, and then draw the right hand to the left, or the left hand to the right knee. Right hand reaches back behind you. Staying here or choosing to bring, and sometimes we fall out, and that's great. We're exploring our boundaries, our edges here. You can take the back of that left forearm to the right knee and press into one another to engage the core in a new way. Find a breath in, reach long through the crown of the head. Exhale, twist deeper. Come back through center. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale to a chaturanga, vinyasa, or downward facing dog. Find a quick child's pose here. Knees come out wide, big toes come to touch, arms reach long in front of you. Bring your forehead down to the mat. Breath in. Exhale, release, let the belly expand between the thighs. Go ahead and rise up, tabletop pose to a downward facing dog. We have one more series to work through here before we bring it down. Take your right leg high, three-legged dog. Draw your knee to your nose, step the foot between the hands. We're rising up right into our high crescent lunge this time. Breath in, breath out, sink lower. We'll find an easy twist here. Take your left hand forward, right arm back, breath in. And then if we want to find our twisted high crescent lunge, again, how we've been finding it today, back of the left forearm to the outside of the right knee, and then the left hand reaches up overhead. So we're using that connection to be able to twist deeper. Slowly rise back up in your T-twist, and then find an exalted crescent lunge. Right hand to the outside of the left thigh, left arm reaches tall. Breath in, breath out. Top hand comes down, twisted runner's lunge. Keeping the legs pretty similar, right hand reaches tall. And then right hand comes to the inside of that front leg. Skandasana to the back of the mat. You're gonna walk your hands down the left side of the mat. Bend into the left knee, left back toes facing the back left corner. Right toes flex towards you, hands to heart center. Hands can either be down on the mat, hands can be at prayer. If you'd like to find a little bind, wrapping the left hand around the outside of that left knee, right hand catches it behind the lower back. One more breath here. We're finding half moon pose at the front of the mat. So we're traveling once again all the way forward, staying low in the hips. Right hand comes to the outside of that right pinky toe. Stack left hip on top of right. Peel the chest open. So we're flexing our left toes. We're engaging the left glute. Maybe you gaze towards those left fingertips. If you feel wobbly, find your drishti, your non-moving gaze point to focus on. Breath in, breath out. We're bending into the right knee, moving back into our warrior two. We haven't been in warrior two yet, but we're gonna land pretty accurately to where we need to be. That front heel wants to bisect the back arch here. Arms are at shoulder height, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Make sure you can see your right big toe. If you can't, dial that right knee outward. Gaze over the front middle finger. Peaceful warrior, flip the front palm. Find the side body stretch, taking you up and back. And then find an extended side angle. Right elbow, right inner thigh. Left arm reaching up and over the left ear. Spiraling the chest upward. Dialing the right knee outward. Make sure that the left in glute is welcome to the party. It's working just as hard. Peaceful warrior once again. Frame the front foot. Step back to your high plank. Vinyasa or down dog. Awesome job. I'm gonna flip around here for this next side. You're gonna take your left leg high, three-legged dog. Curl the spine, step forward, rise up, high crescent lunge. Sink the hips low. Reach the arms tall, breath in, breath out. One more breath here. Find your T-twist, right arm forward, left arm back. Sink low, so we're keeping the hips squaring forward, just twisting through the spine and the upper body. Right hand to the outside of the left knee. Left hand reaches tall. Can you twist open? Using the knee to forearm connection. Rise back up through the T-twist. Find your exalted warrior. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Right arm reaches tall. Breath in. To a twisted runner's lunge. Right hand down. Hips stay low. Left arm spirals up. Breath in. Breath out. Skandasana to the right heel this time. So right toes face the back right corner, bend into the right knee. Sink your hips towards that right heel, pop up on the left foot. Find your positioning. Hands can either be, again, at heart center, on the mat, or find your bind. Ooh, sometimes the bind, each side of your body is not created equally, unfortunately. So if one thing doesn't feel perfect the way it did on the first, that's okay. Hands come down, we're traveling to the front of the mat. Find your half moon pose. Hips are low, plant that left hand outside of the left pinky toe. Stack right hip on top of left. Start to peel that right arm up. Flex the right toes back towards you. Stand long through that left leg, breath in. Breath out. Can you find your edge? Can you reach longer in all 4 directions? Warrior 2, slowly bend into the left knee. Step back, arms open up. Once again, front heel, bisecting the line of the back arch. Both glutes are engaged. Externally rotate the front knee. Squeeze the shoulders together. Breath in. Breath out. Can you sink deeper? Flip the front palm. Peaceful warrior takes you up and back to an extended side angle. Left elbow, left inner thigh. Right arm reaching up and over the right ear. Palm facing down, spiral the chest up. Make sure that we're not dumping all of our weight into that left hip. We're engaged through the core. Peaceful warrior once again. Windmill the hands down. Chaturanga or down dog. From our downward facing dog, let's find our way to the top of the mat here. Walk, step, hop, however you'd like. And then roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. We'll move into a few balancing poses here. Not that we haven't already been challenging ourselves, but just a few more to get us through. So we'll start first with our eagle pose. We're gonna draw, again, with our single leg Tadasana, the right knee into the chest. And then you're gonna wrap the right leg over the left. You can either bring the toes down as a kickstand, or again, if we're testing our balance, you're squeezing the thighs together. This is our single wrap, or you can tuck the toes behind the shin for a double wrap. Arms come out to shoulder height, sink the hips down. The right leg is over, so the right arm is coming under. You can either grab opposite shoulders, or again, bind at the arms, connecting the palms. Can you sink down? Can you squeeze everything together? You might find yourself a little bit out of breath just from the balance and the squeeze. That's normal. Stay with it. Breath in. Exhale, slowly rise. Good. Plant the feet down. I love a good shake out in between your balancing postures before we take it right to the opposite side. We're going to balance into the right leg this time. Draw the left knee up and into the chest. Crossing it over, either touching those touching the toes down for a little kickstand, or keeping the leg elevated, wrapping it over the thigh. Maybe find your double wrap, tucking the toes under the shin, arms come out wide. Sink the hips down. This time your left arm is coming under. Again, grabbing shoulders or connecting at the palms. Draw the elbows up, hands away from the face. Squeeze everything together like you have one big appendage. Put all of your intention in this posture. Stay present with your breath. One more here. Exhale, release. Good. One more balance posture. Let's find our tree pose. We'll take it back, drawing the right knee into the chest. Sole of the right foot on the left thigh. You can also bring it below the knee at the calf, again, or a kickstand at the ground. I just want you externally rotating the right knee. Wherever you are is great. Make sure that you're pressing thigh back into foot. Shift the hips forward, hands come to heart center to start. And then slowly start to draw the fingers up. You're growing your branches. You're rooting down through the foot, gaining that energy all the way through the body, sparking energy out through the fingertips. Breath in, breath out. One more breath. Hands to heart center. Just shake it out, let that go. Release any tension through the arches, through the calves. And then we'll draw the left knee into the chest. Again, finding the positioning on the right leg that feels good, whether it's on the thigh, on the calf, or a kickstand on the ground. Shift the hips forward. Go ahead and zip up that core, hands to heart center. And then start to grow your branches. Rooting down through that right big toe, the right heel. Letting the energy draw up through the core, out through the fingertips. Big breath in, reach tall, expand. Exhale, hands back through heart center, let it go. Beautiful job. Inhale, arms reach up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, step back to your high plank, pause here. And then we'll just come down onto our knees into our hero's pose. Hero's pose, you're just sitting back onto your heels. Your palms come facing up in a position of receiving. Crown of the head, spine nice and long. Draw the shoulders back. We'll move through our camel pose here, a nice little back bend heart opener. So we'll draw our hips off of the heels, tuck those the toes under rather. Draw the hands to the lower back. I like my fingers facing down and my thumbs facing outward. Draw the elbows towards one another, and then start to shift the hips forward. Keeping a nice long spine, your gaze comes up. Maybe you even release all the way through the throat, opening up through that throat chakra. Finding that nice back bend. And then if you're ready, you can go ahead and grab your right hand on your right heel, left hand on the left heel, to really take this posture to its full extension. Once you're ready to come back up, I encourage you to bring the hands to the lower back to assist, and you'll find yourself back in your hero's pose. Reach your arms up over your head, grab opposite elbows, reach the biceps back by the ears and reach long through the armpits. Good, then we'll find a little twist here. Left hand to the outside of the right leg, right hand comes back behind you. Same thing, opposite way. Let's grab the opposite grip of the elbows, so the way that feels a little funky. Draw the biceps by the ears, reach long, and then find the twist to the left. Awesome. We're gonna sink onto our left hip, left or right, whatever your preference, coming down onto your back. We'll move next into our bridge pose. Bring the heels nice and close in by the glutes, hands come down by the sides. Press into the feet, lift your hips off of the mat. You can choose to stay here or interlace the hands behind the lower back. Maybe you tuck one shoulder under, tuck the other shoulder under. Press the pinky side edge of the hands down, lift up. Breath in. Breath out. Can you lift 1 inch higher? Exhale, untuck the shoulders, come down. Bring the edges of your feet to the edges of the mat, and then bring the knees together, squeeze the knees together while also pressing the lower back down. You should feel this nice widening through the sacrum, release in that lower back that we've been activating. Good, let's come back through center, heels behind glutes once again. You can choose to take your bridge pose as you just did, or if wheel pose is in your practice, I invite you to take it now. You can bring your hands back by your shoulders, fingertips facing shoulders, and you're gonna press into hands, into feet to lift up through the chest. Your chest is reaching towards the front of the mat, shins reaching towards the bottom, and I want you to realize your breath is the main event here, so focus on every inhale, every exhale to get you through, to bring ease into the posture. Find one more full round of breath, and then slowly tuck the chin, come down onto the back. This time we'll windshield wiper the legs. So again, edges of the feet come to the edges of the mat, and then we're just gonna rotate out the knees side to side, finding a windshield wiper motion. Again, just to massage out that lower back. Good. Knees come back through center, heels come back through center. We'll take a figure 4 pose here. Take the sole of that right foot up to the sky and then cross it across that left thigh. You can either stay here and maybe give a little push on that right knee to open up through the right hip. Or if you have a little bit more flexibility in the hips, take the hands, interlace them behind the left thigh. Draw the left thigh towards you, and then use your right knee to press out on, or excuse me, your right elbow to press outward on that right knee. A great hip opener here. Breath in, breath out. Our hips can store a lot of emotion, a lot of trauma, surprisingly, so these big hip openers might kind of approach us in an intense way. And as in yoga, as in life, the best way through is with your breath. Just meditating through every inhale, every exhale. Sole of the left foot comes down. We'll find a spinal twist here. Keeping that right ankle crossed over, let the knees fall over to the left. Cactusing, open the arms, gaze over to the right. Come back through center. Let's switch out the legs. Plant the sole of the right foot. Take the left foot up to the sky and then cross that left ankle over the right thigh. Flexing the left toes, protecting that knee joint. And then again, either staying here, pressing out on that inner knee, or taking the hands behind the right hamstring, drawing the hands towards the chest, maybe using that left elbow on that inner left thigh to open up the hip. Again, if one side doesn't feel exactly like the other, that's okay. Continuing to breathe through. Two more rounds of breath here. Let the sole of the right foot come down to the earth. Let the knees fall over to the right side of the mat. Cactus, open the arms. Finding your spinal twist. With every exhale, let your body melt deeper. Come back through center. We'll take both legs up to the sky. Find a little rock forward to a seated position. We'll find a single leg forward fold. Left leg tucks in, right leg reaches long. Arms reach up tall. Square your torso over your right leg and then find a forward fold. So important to keep a nice long spine. You might even just grab for that quadricep and draw forward. Maybe the ankle. Maybe you're bringing the chest all the way down. Slowly rise up, stargazer pose. Windmill that left hand behind the left glute. Come up on the left knee. Reach long, big expansive inhale, breath in. Exhale, sink back down. Let's take it to the next side. Left leg reaches long, right leg tucks in. Arms reach tall, nice long spine, core is pulled in. Square your torso, forward fold. Taking it to wherever feels good for you. Nice safe stretch. Rise up, stargazer, right hand behind the right glute. Come up on that right knee. Sweep the left arm up and over. Take the hips high, find a breath in. Exhale, take it back down. We'll find a forward fold with both legs extended out in front of you. Make sure those sit bones are firmly planted on the earth. Arms reach tall, core pulled in, forward fold. Giving yourself a little gratitude here as you're hugging into yourself. Gratitude for your body, what it was able to do for you today, the journey that you went on together. Just some positive self-talk here. Slowly draw up. Reach your arms long in front of you. We're gonna engage the core and drop down inch by inch, as slow as we possibly can. Finding our final resting pose of Shavasana here together. In your Shavasana, let your toes splay out wide. Palms come facing up and in position of receiving beside your hips. Release any tension in the face, tension between the brow, tension in the jaw. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. And I invite you to take a full body scan here, inch by inch, starting at the tips of the toes. And with our intention of class today, I want you to infuse a sense of ease into every inch of the body with a full body scan. So again, starting with the toes, let them be at ease. Up through the ankles and the calves, allow them to be at ease. And I invite you for however long you'd like to remain in Shavasana, to continue on this full body scan, knowing that your body, your spirit, your mind is worthy of this easiness. Again, staying here as long as you'd like, or if it's time to explore the French Quarter, I understand. Bring a little movement into the head and neck, into the fingers and toes, and then you'll roll over onto your favorite side. Curling up in a fetal position. Maybe you're resting your head in your elbow crease. A few rounds of breath here, just feeling complete, satisfied, at ease. And then come to a seated position at the top of your mat when you're ready. Palms come down by your sides. Draw your shoulders down and back. Sweep your arms up overhead. Connect the palms above you. Draw your hands down into your heart space with something new, fresh, and inspired. Breathe with it for a moment here. Draw your thumb knuckles up to your third eye for a rub of acknowledgement. And then we'll forward fold together here as we say namaste. Again, thank you all for joining me for this yoga flow this morning. My name is McKensie Kirshner with NOLA Vibe Yoga. We will be hosting weekly classes at the Westin, hopefully out here on the terrace. So please check with the front desk about when and where you can flow with us during your stay. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week.